What's up, everybody? This is Devin White, linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're listening to the LCC Network. Go Bucks.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Commissioner's Clubhouse on the LCC Network for our 2021 Rookie Draft recap episode. It is early July. We are in the middle of our offseason waiver wire right now, which is why we're not talking about it, because there's still a lot of picks to go on between now and the end of it. I think we've got roughly 5 days, something like that, left within it, in terms of the schedule at least. But yeah, with me today, I have got Jordan on the show like always, and I've got Mafali on the show with me. What's going on, you guys?
What's up? Good to be here.
Yep. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Let's get this going. Exciting.
Yeah, I mean, this is the rookie draft was. It had it all, honestly. It had its trades. It had its, people reaching, people getting steals. It had everything you'd want in a rookie draft, and fantasy football is a blast. And hopefully, for those maybe who aren't in the league that are listening, this will just be, a good taste of what you could see in your own rookie draft, especially if you're in an IDP league. Because our league, IDP players go a little bit earlier than some other leagues, but we kind of like it that way in some regards because it gives you more options in terms of your lineup. Before we dive into some of our favorite picks and we run through them all, here's a couple fun facts for you guys. First of all, there were 106 picks placed into the rookie draft. For those that don't know, you have to enter basically a veteran draft pick to enter the rookie draft pick. You can enter as many as you want, but you can only take 3 players. So there were 106 picks put in by 15 teams. There's 24 teams in the league, so not everyone participated, which is fine. Which means that everyone of those 15 teams, everyone averaged at least 7 picks they placed in. Now, with that said, out of the 106 put into the rookie draft, only 23 players were selected, and the maximum you could take was 3 rookies. Some people reached that limit. Some people didn't even come close. I got 1 player, and I was pretty satisfied with that. But everyone, had their own needs and stuff. So, needless to say, we're not going over the 87 picks that were skipped. We're going to go over the 23 players that were actually picked tonight. Are you guys ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, most definitely.
All right, let's kick
I'll
this.
be the
What were we saying?
yeah. I'll be the guy to rattle off all the picks taken, and then we can maybe discuss a few that we liked or disliked.
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's get this sound drop going.
All right.
All right, so this is it, guys. We've got 23 picks. We're not going to dive deep into all of them because not all of them are worth really diving that far into, but there are some that were definitely headline picks. Jordan, you want to get us started?
Yeah, and I don't know if y'all want to stop me on one that you might like more than others and just dive into it then or what, but just cut me off if so.
Yeah.
Okay, so leading off the rookie draft, we had Hunter Champions take Najee Harris with his first round, 3rd overall pick. So leading off with the running back crew. And then Steel Curtain, GM'd by Cody, took Travis Etienne with his first round, 8th overall. And then you those were the only 2 picks taken in the first round. So you had 2 backs go in the first round with first round values. Then you had Jameson and Gimme Moore leading off the second round with the first defender off the board, Jamin Davis. You got Slapdicks taking the 3rd running back. This may have surprised or not surprised, but he took Javonte Williams in his second round, 10th overall pick. And we got Mr. Mufali himself, Mufasa Moneymakers, taking the golden boy Trevor Lawrence with his second round, 13th overall pick. We have Charles in the 3rd leg taking linebacker Micah Parsons with the 17th pick in the second round. and that wrapped up the second round. So not a lot as well. No third round picks were taken in the rookie draft. So we dropped down to the fourth round, and you had Patrick and his Leprechauns taking Xavier Collins with the fourth
Oh
pick of
yeah.
the fourth round. Yeah, you see, he likes that.
I knew I wanted a linebacker there. I was really hoping some of the other guys were going to fall to me, but some people paid a high price tag for a rookie linebacker. So I
It did. I was targeting some myself,
I was
and
surprised at
once
when
Jamie
we,
Davis went off in the second round, I was
yeah.
not confident.
I think you and I were texting. We're like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to get a linebacker now. Like, instead of this chain
Yeah,
reaction of like players going like super early.
yeah. But to keep rolling along with the very next pick, with the fifth pick in the fourth round, Jameson and Give Me More came back around to take wide receiver Jamar Chase, a nice little target. Burrow's body count comes in at the ninth pick of the fourth round with linebacker Nick Bolton. Let's see, and then Mondo in his hash slinging slashers. I'm gonna butcher this name, but with the 15th pick of the fourth round, he takes linebacker Jeremiah Osawu Kamaramo. I probably butchered that, but
Did better than
most
I
of you
would.
guys know who I'm talking about, linebacker from Notre Dame. Um, the Levitar Lobos taking safety Richie Grant with the 16th pick of the fourth round. I was a pretty big fan of that pick. I liked him in all areas, real life too. Um, and then you drop down. That was it for the fourth round. First pick of the fifth round was the second overall pick of the fifth round, coming from Detroit Bad Boys, taking wide receiver Devonta Smith. Two picks later, with the fourth pick of the fifth round, Cody and the Steel Curtain comes back around and takes Jalen Waddle. The Lobos come back around with the ninth pick of the fifth round and take Michael Carter, running back of the Jets. So the last back taken off the board right there. Well, I don't think, was he the last back? No, I don't think he
No,
was.
there's one back I think might have been that could potentially be the biggest steal got taken later here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. But keeping it moving, with the 10th pick of the fifth round, Mr. Nuge and the Eastside Brawlers take Kwity Paye. Um, I gotta flip pages. We have so many picks taken, but let me get to the next one. I believe the next pick was made by you, Steve. Is that
Yep.
correct? Yeah.
Mhm.
Next pick is by the Moneymakers. He went ahead and looked for himself a future safety with the 14th pick of the sixth round and Trayvon Moore rig. I might have messed his name up too, but the TCU safety, I could see big things coming out of him as well. You got That's it for the sixth round. First pick of the seventh round was the eighth overall pick of the seventh round with Charles in the third leg, taking defensive end Jalen Phillips out of Miami. Um, Eastside Brawlers, Mr. Nuge back again with the 10th pick of the 10th round with safety Javon Holland. And Gimme More, Jameson comes back around with a running back pick that we kind of referenced, but Trey Sermon, running back from Ohio State with the
Oh,
49ers.
I was so
Is that,
pissed when he got
yeah,
him because I had skipped my 804 pick right before him, thinking, all right, I'm going to skip this pick. And then in the 807, I'm going to go get Trey Sermon. I was way too greedy. That's only 3 picks. I really should have pulled the trigger there, but
yeah, I would say
Yeah,
so.
that's gotta suck. I know that feeling for sure. You're just like, was it really worth those 3 picks
I
in
know
the
in the 8th round,
eighth
like
round?
I'm getting a backup here. Like, I mean, that's just, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I was overthinking that move.
And Jameson's probably thanking you for it now.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, great value, maybe the best value in the whole rookie draft. But
Yeah.
just rattle off the last couple ones. Burrow's body count comes up and takes Kyle Pitts with the 14th pick of the eighth round. Um, Third leg, and Charles takes wide receiver Rashad Bateman with the eighth pick of the 11th round. This could be a value. I know there's not too many fans of him in our overall league, but New Orleans Voodoo with the ninth pick of the 11th round takes quarterback Zach Wilson, which love him or hate him, he should be thrown into the fire with New York, so to technically get a starting quarterback that late. See how it works out for him. But moving along with the 18th pick of the 11th round, Detroit Bad Boys, and Billy takes linebacker Ernest Jones, which this was I didn't even have him on my radar, but it's
No.
absolute like Homer Gamecock move. He was actually a really good player in college, and I was like, huh, it's going to be interesting to see if he comes along. But potentially nice pick for Billy. And then so with the last pick of the rookie draft, with the sixth pick of the 13th round, you had Hunter. So Hunter was the bookend picks, first pick and last pick. He takes Jeremy and Sherwood, linebacker. Correct? He's linebacker, right?
Yeah, he is. Hunter thought he
Yeah.
was a safety. He was telling me, but he's a linebacker.
Okay, yeah, I was pretty sure on that. But yeah, and that rounds out the rookie picks. We briefly talked about a few of them, but if you guys got any more like value picks or dislikes,
Yeah, I mean, just to go off of I guess who you just talked about, Ernest Jones. I mean, he definitely that whole like everything going on there in LA is interesting because I feel like there's no safety, linebacker, anybody that's really taken over as like the guy on that defense to get tackles. I mean, obviously they have the great defensive line and they have Aaron Donald, but one of those linebackers is going to benefit this year off of all the tackles that Aaron Donald eats up, and it's just a matter of if it's going to be this kid or if it's going to be like Troy Reader or I think they have like Micah Kaiser, like other guys like that. But I think there's a lot of opportunity for tackles, obviously, out there for that defense, and it could be him. It definitely could be. I mean, they went and got him. I think in like the third or fourth round this year, so decent draft capital and a lot of upside. I think a lot of potential for a guy like him.
I agree with that.
I'll tell you one pick. Whether or not you agree with it or not, I think more than anything, it indicates what may happen in our next draft next month is Javonte Williams going to 210. Javonte Williams isn't even a true RB1 on his own team at the moment. So it makes you wonder, all right, the best running back right now currently available in our entire player pool is Mike Davis.
Yep. Oh, yeah, it's thin out there.
And we still have at least one team that I can think of who doesn't have a running back at all on their roster, and it's Dirty Mike and the boys. They have the first overall pick, and that makes me wonder, does Mike Davis go at the 101? Because I feel like he has to unless Mike trades back and tries to get him later and maybe get an extra pick out of it. But, I mean, that he's pretty much going to have to use a first-round pick because I don't think he's going to fall to him in the second round with like the 224.
No, yeah, not unless you're trying to take a chance on another running back, just pretty much. And after that, it's really thin. I think it's just a bunch of timeshare guys.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's crazy. Like he literally may have to pull the trigger on Mike Davis in the 101. We'd literally probably be the only draft in America where Mike Davis went to 101.
Yeah, well, that's what happens when pretty much consensusly, almost the entire top 30 running backs for fantasy are already like on a roster somehow. When you go through the list, like after like the waiver, after these last few waiver picks and everything, like almost all those guys who were consensusly like in the top 30 for running backs are pretty much off the board now. So, you got to kind of just take positional needs at that point, or you get left with like the bare scraps.
Yeah, it sounds weird coming out, but I think that's exactly what he has to do. And I'm not even saying Mike Davis has a bad year.
Oh, but Mike Davis is going to be
yeah.
I think he's going to be forced to have a good year just because even if they don't run the ball a lot, Mike Davis is a good receiving back too. So
yeah,
I think one thing Dirty Mike will have is I think like since we did the waiver draft this way, the Dirty Mike will be at the top of the waivers when it comes to like post draft like during the season. So there's always running backs every year to get hurt, and if he uses that first waiver correctly, he could hit on a guy like that. So that'd probably be his best way to get in like a really good running back this year. If he didn't take Mike Davis, he would just have to do what he could until somebody gets hurt and then use his first overall waiver on somebody.
Yeah. I mean, just to give you guys an idea, there are, let's see, 25. Yeah, there's like 25. No, there's actually, I think, 30 running backs rostered, like you said, actually. I think there's like 30 running backs rostered at the moment in our league. So, Mike Davis is the best according to if you like Fantasy Pros, if you trust Fantasy Pros, they have Mike Davis as the consensus RB23 in a PPR format. So take that how
Yeah,
you
he's
want.
he's probably the only one left in that top 30.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if you don't have a running back, you better go get one.
and I love
You hearing this,
how.
Mike?
Yeah, I know, right? Hopefully, Mike's listening. And I mean, then let's take it back to Slapdicks, Austin Burnett, who like I said earlier, a second round pick, he goes and drafts Javonte Williams from Denver, and then with his waiver wire pick, correct me if I'm wrong, he got Myles Gaskin super early in the waiver wire, right?
Yes, he did. He traded up to get Myles Gaskins.
Yeah. So he kind of knew that he wanted to do that. So that's
Mhm.
interesting. He has two guys I feel like who could pan out really well for him at running back. Like neither one of them you'd feel most people in most fantasy leagues would be like, I don't want that as my RB1, but in our league, I feel like one of those two guys should pan out pretty well for him.
Yeah, you would think so. So it's just all dependent on injury, really, obviously, as for every player. But
Yeah.
So since we got you here, Mafali, tell us what like the Trevor Lawrence pick at 213. You did some trading like early in the rookie draft. Basically, didn't you trade away you traded your first pick in the rookie draft? You had the first overall to Steel Curtain, who moved up but didn't use the pick. You moved back. Tell us like from the war room what that looked like.
yeah, so obviously Cody had originally traded up with the expectations of taking like Najee Harris, and we were going to originally trade a third rounder. He was going to give me a third rounder just to move back like the two picks. And then he said like, he was like, well, I kind of just want ETN, but he knows if he didn't trade up, I was going to either take Harris or ETN. Like if I was at that pick still and nobody traded up for it, I was going to take one of those two guys. And he knew that. So he said, I'll give you a second if you do the trade and then don't take, ETN with your fourth pick basically. And I said, that's fine. Cause I'd already had my eye on a couple guys in the regular draft. I really wanted to, that's why I really originally wanted to trade back anyways. And so then he ends up taking ETN. And then when it came to Lawrence, I was kind of thinking, I really didn't think as many quarterbacks would go in this waiver draft as they did, but I kind of was, I expected a lot of guys to take quarterbacks early because of, how many points they score in this league. And there's also a few teams without quarterbacks. Like really, I was thinking until you mentioned like the Mike Davis pick, I thought that Dirty Mike was almost a sure lock-in for Aaron Rodgers, just getting the best player on the board, guy who's going to get you 600 points and stuff. But, I just was like, okay, almost an elite quarterback here, potential to be an all-time great guy, supposedly. I mean, we'll see. But I was like, second round, I think all the quarterbacks are going to start going like early first, early second in the draft. So, I was just like, I think that's the best time to get a quarterback now so I can save those first rounders in the draft for some like elite defenders, which I need the most.
So would you say like the Trevor Lawrence pick, was that kind of premeditated? Like you knew that's the guy, one of the guys you had to have in the rookie draft going in, or
definitely
not,
not. Well, you remember I was on the podcast and said I thought for sure Lawrence was going to go first round. Like, I really did because, I just thought that guys would really love his upside. But when he fell to the second, I was like, all right, well, screw it, because I would like, and that's like, my original plan was to take Jalen Hurts in the draft. I wasn't going to trade that second waiver pick. I was going to take Jalen Hurts, assuming he fell there. And then, which he did, obviously, because you took him. But that's when I decided to trade with you after that Lawrence pick, because it was really just like a quick, like, and I originally actually had Charles text me and say, would you trade that pick for Lawrence? And I said no. And then he actually traded me for that pick that he took Micah Parsons with. But, I just felt like for a guy with as much potential as Trevor Lawrence has, that in the second round and with the potential of like a free keeper next year, I thought it was just worth the value.
Yeah, and you're in a very unique situation compared to everyone in the league because of the draft capital you have. You could pull you throw it in a second round waiver pick is like most people putting in like a fourth or fifth round waiver pick in terms of the amount of picks
exactly.
you got that early on.
I still have at least like I think 3 or 4 second round picks. So, there's plenty, and I knew I was going to have to just take the best guys available. Like at some point I might have to reach on a guy, but if I think he's the best available, then I just got to take him,
Yeah. No, at the time I was thinking, oh, well, I was right. Trevor Lawrence actually may fall out of the first 2 rounds. then he got him. So I was just curious, like, kind of what was going on there. I wish we had Jameson on the show because I'm interested to know his perspective on Jamin Davis with the 205. And that's an early pick for a rookie linebacker. Like,
Definitely.
you using the 205 is basically saying this guy's a top 12 linebacker this year.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll see how the regular draft falls. That's when you'll really know who got value and who, like, got, like, bad value. But we'll see how some of these top, because there's a lot of linebackers out here that are, pretty much consensus top 20 linebackers, pretty young guys still. So, we'll see where they fall in the draft. And if they don't go too early, then that looks like a pretty rough pick. Unless, like, Davis just becomes a top 20 guy, which he definitely has the upside to. But I thought it was I thought those guys were going to start getting taken like late second, early third. But once they went, then people were like, all right, well, now that he's gone, I'm going to get Parsons because I'm worried somebody's going to take him. And then, then everything else went. So
yeah, Jamin Davis was the snowball of the draft.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and Jordan, I'm interested. So you're kind of in a unique position too in the league where you actually, I believe, skipped all of your rookie picks, the ones that you put in.
Yeah.
And I think we had talked before the draft, like you were like me, you kind of wanted to get a linebacker in there, but you weren't going to overpay for them either.
Yeah, I just couldn't find the value that I liked, so I wound up not doing anything. I took some heat from it from guys like Steve here, but I just wasn't into reaching on something that I felt like I could have got something of the same value, if not better, in the main draft. So I just kept my picks in my pocket.
Yeah. Well, you also, I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I believe you had a big gap between your 5th round pick that you put in and the 13th round pick. Did you have any picks in between there?
No, I put in 2 4s, 2 5s, and then the 13. So no.
Okay. Yeah, that's what did it then, because you had so many like early picks in there that you didn't have a chance to get some of those back end guys like Trey Sermon, Rashad Bateman, Zach Wilson. Not that you would have got him. From I know your thoughts on it.
Which I had a very specific few like in mind that I was willing to spend any one of those 4 or 5 picks on, but it didn't happen. So, and then I just had that 13 in there to see if one gem would fall, and I didn't really like anybody still. So, it is what it is.
I like Gregory Rousseau from the defensive end that I totally passed on from Miami. That's a guy I was debating so much if I was going to use like one of my later picks for him. But my issue was I already had Chase Young, who I cannot cut this season, but I can trade him. I didn't want to be in a position where I've got 2 defensive ends that I can't cut. Otherwise, I would have taken him, but I kind of got into that position late in the draft so I kind of just got stuck taking one player. But again, I don't feel bad about that. I got the position I wanted, one of the players that I wanted. I think part of it, like some people, I feel like get baited into taking picks. Like I feel like the Kyle Pitts one was like kind of iffy just because he's a tight end and you don't know how he's going to be used. Like it was an 8th round pick, sure, but at the same time, like I don't know. I mean, maybe it's all right because basically Kyle Pitts is going to be his backup receiver. Who cares if you can't cut your backup receiver? He's your backup receiver, and in our league, most people aren't going to start 2, so you can live with a mediocre to bad backup receiver. I feel like.
Yeah.
I guess. Well, only if you have a good wide receiver one, I'll say, because if you
That's
don't,
true.
then you want to have 2 really good options that you can mix up and play their matchups and such, But I thought Rashad Bateman was probably way more even though it was like in the 11th and a lot later. Like, I mean, I guess it's just like the fact that I just don't like the Ravens and their passing game and everything.
Yeah, I agree
but
on that.
I feel like Kyle Pitts definitely has way more upside than Bateman, and I get the tight end and how he'll be used, but I mean, even in college, he lined up wide so much. Pitts did, so I really don't see them changing much in Atlanta, especially now they got rid of Julio. Like they're going to still want that big body guy out there catching passes for them.
Yeah.
So I think Pitts can actually have some value. I mean, there's not many tight ends in this league that do, other than like Kelsey and maybe Darren Waller. That's pretty much the only ones that get rostered consistently in this league because of the amount of yards they could put up. And I could definitely see Kyle Pitts being a guy like that.
Yeah.
What about the? I feel like maybe I'm wrong about this, but was Kwity Paye the first offensive lineman taken in the draft?
Yeah, he was.
What are your thoughts on that? He gave up a 5'10", so like a mid fifth round pick for Kwity Paye.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, there's actually a lot of good defensive linemen in the veteran draft, but it's just a matter of how early those guys start to go, and we'll see if by the fifth round, all those guys are gone, then maybe that pick looks decent. But then that's what I was saying earlier. You kind of have to see sometimes where guys start to fall in the veteran draft, then you'll see truly how good or bad some of these picks were.
Yeah. I'm not saying he won't be like the best rookie defensive end. I just felt like he could have slightly waited on him where he got him. I remember actually posting that pic for your dad. He let it be known like he was going to bed, and if his pick came up, that was who he wanted. But yeah, I could see him being the best rookie. I just feel like he could have waited like a round or two.
Yeah, he was pretty adamant about getting the defensive lineman, and he was asked my thoughts on Kwity Paye, and I was like, I like his situation. I said it on a previous episode, like, they've got a good front seven. He shouldn't face a lot of double teams because they've got DeForest Buckner. I feel like he's going to attract a lot of that. I feel like Kwity Paye is in a position where he could have a good rookie year, but there are a lot of veterans out there too for him to play around with. But I like Kwity Paye. I felt like a fifth-round pick was pretty decent. Like, a fifth-round pick, most people are drafting their first backup player, maybe a flex player. So I didn't think it was like too bad, but I guess we'll have to wait and see how does this rookie defensive lineman play in Indianapolis. I think he should be solid though.
Yeah, I like him. I like him a lot as a player. Just in terms of the value, like Jordan said, probably could have waited to get him, but we'll see how that turns out.
Yeah.
What about Michael Carter from the Jets going to Libertad Lobos? He went with the 509 actually right before Kwity did.
Yeah, I think seeing Trey Sermon go as late as he did kind of made that pick, look a little bit not as good. But when you then compare it to the Javonte Williams pick, then it looks a lot better. So, I think in the fifth round for a running back like that, who probably should start and definitely has some potential, fifth round pick is definitely not a bad pick. Like you said, it's mainly backups and maybe a flex at that point. But running back is such a coveted position in the draft right now that I feel like that's a pretty solid pick at 509. Like, not great, but definitely pretty solid, and I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely not a guy that you're going to feel bad for being stuck on your roster. And I don't think a 509 is like super expensive. Like I said, you're kind of drafting your first backup player at that point in our league, like around the fifth round. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on Jordan?
I mean, I think he's a back that'll get all the opportunity. It's just, I mean, are they going to block for anybody?
Yeah.
I kind of like their offensive line. I think they'll be a surprise this year, but I think
yeah, they could surprise. I feel like it's just tough breaking in like just a whole rookie backfield. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. But I can speak from experience that anybody listening, and if you drafted a rookie running back, you have to be patient because probably my biggest regret from last year was like finally just throwing in the towel on Cam Akers, probably around week 10 or so.
Yeah.
And trading him away. And then now, he got kept by somebody else, but he could have been a free keeper for me. And I just, definitely regret not just being more patient and just waiting. So,
yeah.
These guys sometimes definitely take more than a few games, might take a whole year, but that's why you take the rookies, really, because, even though you can't cut them, it's potential to keep them without having to use that keeper pick the following year. So there's that investment still.
Yeah.
It doesn't pay off immediately.
Yeah, and I mean, the Jets have Tevin Coleman on the roster, and they have Michael Perrine. I can't never say his name right.
Yeah.
But I think Michael Carter's gonna get in there eventually. I don't think anyone sees like Tevin Coleman as like a true every down back. So I think Carter's definitely gonna get his opportunity to play at some point.
Yeah, I think he will
I
too.
agree.
It should like I think the touches will be there by the end of the season. It's just will the production follow suit.
Yeah. He's currently on Fantasy Pros. He's their RB38, which is kind of surprising, I feel like.
Yeah.
But I think his like, ADP is like around 32, roughly, in terms of running backs. So for his position, not overall 32. But yeah, I don't know. We're going to have to see how some of these pan out. Were there any other rookie picks you guys want to talk about?
I didn't have any more. I think I mentioned a couple while I was saying them. I really like the potential of God, I'm blanking on his name. The Atlanta safety,
Oh yeah, Richie Grant.
Richie Grant. Yeah, I feel
Yeah.
like be used in a Jamal Adams type
Mm-hmm.
setting way. So I like the potential of where he got him for what he
Yeah.
could potentially put
I
up.
guess the one. I mean, I guess like the same thing with like you were talking about Jordan with Michael Carter with Zach Wilson. Like,
Yeah.
are they really gonna be good enough? And I think the one thing about that's risky, especially even in my shoes, like drafting a rookie quarterback, is like unless they get hurt, like you really are stuck with them unless you can find somebody else that you could trade with that maybe doesn't want their quarterback, is willing to hold on to him. But in the end, it's like you can't get another one. It's not like you can have a backup quarterback, so you're kind of just it's not like every other position where if they stink, at least you could get somebody else to be your starter. You're kind of just locked in with that guy at that point. So
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
definitely gonna be interesting.
It is going to be interesting. This is the first year we kind of capped the amount of rookies you could draft. So I mean, yeah, there's so many things involved. You have to like you said, think about, am I going to be stuck with a guy who's actually going to prevent me from adding someone else? Because I can only have a max of 3 rookies, but a max of 3 players of any one position. So you really got to take that into account when you're doing your regular season waiver wires and when you're drafting too, because all of that comes into play. You have limitations. You have to think about long-term effect there too, and like how do I compete this year? Like sure, this one rookie might end up being a stud next season, but I'm trying to win now. 2022 is not even close to getting here yet, the fantasy season at least. So
Yeah.
and it's going to be interesting. I mean, like we're halfway down through the waiver wire now. I've been doing my best to keep up with the picks on Twitter, but it moves a lot faster than I can keep up with at times. But I think the waiver wire is going to also impact too. Like how do we view some of these rookie picks? Because sure, the Travis Etienne pick may look decent for Cody now, but then, based off where the guys land, maybe he could have waited a few more picks to get it.
Yeah, he could be a complete bust, and you want to cut him all year.
Yeah.
But don't, I'm telling you. So, Cam Akers one is gonna haunt me unless I hit on a running back this year.
Cam Akers is a guy, like, if people either love him or hate him from everything I've been reading and stuff.
Yeah, I'm still on the kind of hate list, but I definitely see where people that love him get like the whole upside thing. But I think a lot of people forget that Darrell Henderson's still a good running back, and Cam Akers didn't really get going until Henderson was like beat up and wasn't playing anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and not that many teams I feel like use like a true like one back system, kind of like the Panthers have done over the past couple of seasons. Most people are rotating guys in and out so they can get long-term play out of guys. It's not unless you get a true, freak of an athlete like Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, something like that you're actually starting them every play. But most teams are in that position because they can survive off, the entire, I don't know, running back core of the entire NFL. There's so much depth there that they can rotate guys in and out any game.
I agree. There's probably only like 6 or 7 running backs that you could say are truly like, workhorses and like, every down backs. Other than that, there's a lot of guys that split carries and, get
Make
released
Jonathan
quite
Taylor a
often.
workhorse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he Jonathan Taylor should be, but you gotta. It's still up in the air to me because I feel like they got Marlon Mack coming back. They liked Naheem Hines a lot.
Yeah, they're gonna baby him, and it's gonna piss me off.
Yeah, they might. They really might, man. Like that, I can really see it again. Them just, because a lot of teams take the Bill Belichick approach. The reason he does all this, tandem running back thing is because he wants to keep his guys fresh. But you always notice come the end of the year, playoffs, he finds that one guy and he sticks with them. He doesn't mix it up much in the playoffs. He really just mixes it up during the regular season, keeps his guys fresh, and then come like the end of the year, whoever's hot and whoever his like actual favorite running back the whole year has been, we'll get going.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I think that's all I've got, guys. Unless you had something else you wanted to add about the rookie picks.
Hope
Oh,
you
definitely
guys
not.
enjoyed the commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next week, I think, depending on when we record, we'll probably do a recap of the 2021 waiver wire, how that went, and then probably like a week after that, we may end up doing like a dive into who our favorite teams are. Teams that we feel like did the right moves, or the wrong moves throughout the offseason heading into the big draft here in not September, it's technically August, like end of August, because that's going to be fun. And I think I think this would be even more fun. I'm going to put some stuff on Twitter probably in like next week or two, like create polls for people to vote on who their favorite team is per each division. And then from that, narrow it down even further every single day. I think that'd be kind of fun to track just to see, like, totally random people who aren't even in our league based off current rosters. Who do they think, who are they putting their money on, basically?
Yeah.
Cool. But we'll see you guys next week for our waiver wire recap.
What day does the waiver wire end?
Waiver wire ends. Let me go check. Hang on. I want to say Sunday. Could be wrong.
Okay. So it really wouldn't
It
matter.
ends Saturday, July 10th at 8 p.m.
Okay.
Okay.
So
There
we
you
can
go.
record any day next week.
Yeah, so there you go. We will definitely have a waiver wire recap for you guys. Cool. All right, well, you guys have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you post waiver wire.
All right, guys. Sounds good. Thanks for having me on.
Peace.